Hear the Holy Gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, according to John.
Glory to you, Lord.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to bear witness about the light, that all might believe through him. He was not the light, but came to bear witness about the light. The true light, which gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, yet the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own people did not receive him. But to all who did receive him, who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh, and dwelt among us. And we have seen his glory, glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth. This is the Gospel of the Lord.
Praise be to you, Lord.
So please, everyone, be seated. The reading from Isaiah begins with the idea of news. Begins with the idea of the messenger. If you can imagine, a city hears about an enemy approaching, an enemy army. Every able-bodied man in the city picks up his weapons and goes out to meet the advancing enemy. The city's empty. Every man is gone. Back left is just a handful of blokes, plus the children and the women, the elderly, and those who are not able. The army marches out and simply vanishes. They know it's going to take them a day or two to get there. And they know that the business, when they get there, is going to take a day or two to resolve. And therefore, they also know it's going to take a day or two for them to get back. So as they see the army marching out, it simply disappears, and they know they won't know anything at all for at least 5 days. And so they wait. They lock up the city, they put watchmen on the walls, and they wait. And they wait, and they wait. And they wonder, what is going to happen? Will we see them again? Will the enemy come and destroy our city? Will it kill the rest of us or enslave us? Will it take our possessions? Will it burn our buildings to the ground? And then one day, in the shimmering heat haze of the distance, they see a speck gradually getting bigger. Just a speck on the horizon. And it shimmers in the haze, and after a while they can see that it's a man running. And they wonder, what is he going to say? And then after a while they can see he looks happy. He's one of theirs. It's okay. The enemy's gone. It's going to be okay. And you can imagine a sigh of relief on the walls. How lovely in the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news. I can't think of anything in our culture that's close to that sense of anticipation, that anxiety of waiting. And when you think about waiting beside a phone, or waiting for an email, or waiting for a video call or something, but it's instantaneous around the world. Can you imagine just waiting days and days and days, not knowing which way it's going to go? And then eventually the messenger appears, and it's going to be all right. And he comes, we've won! We're going to be okay! They've gone! We're fine! They're defeated! We're saved! We're going to be all right! Everything's going to go back to normal! And everyone is so happy to know it's going to be okay. And that feeling is the one that Isaiah is trying to communicate. That sense of relief, that surge of joy and happiness. It's going to be all right. It's going to work. We're going to be all right. Our stuff is safe. The families are safe. The boys are going to come home. We're all going to be together again. It's going to be good. And that's the whole point of everything that really is saying tonight. It's going to be okay. The Lord is come. It says in that thing, the Lord has bared his holy arm. He showed his strength. He showed, this is how I'm going to do it. This is how I'm going to fix it. This is how I'm going to make it well. I'm going to do it myself. I'm not going to wait for you lot to sort it out, because you can't. You don't have the ability. You don't have the moral integrity. You don't have the strength. You don't have the nous. I will do it. I will fix it. I will sort you out. And so he sends his messenger. First he sent John and the other prophets to say, this is how it's going to be. This is how it's going to work out. This is what you need to know. So that those who are waiting, the watchful on the walls, as it were, and they really stand for anyone that's waiting, will recognise when the time comes, this is it. This is the one we've been waiting for. This is the one whom the Lord has sent. And he's described in these two passages, in Hebrews and John. He's described explicitly as being the man from heaven, the Son of God, the Son of the Most High, not a creation, not a mere man, not an angel, not a created being, but the Creator, the one who made everything, the one whom by all things were made, the one by whom everything was made. It's like an author entering their own story, like a director climbing into his film. And you see the vastness of space out there. When I was young, I was kind of interested in space, and I used to look at all these books about the Mariner and the Pioneer and read about the galaxies and everything. And the one thing that I found maybe depressing about the whole exercise is just that it's really, really big, and there's nothing out there. It's just empty. There's this huge vastness that spreads more than we can imagine. And there's nothing in it. If you look at the average density of the universe, it's practically zero. There are these vast voids of nothingness. And you can see these desperate searches in magazines like New Scientist, looking for life on the planets and things. But there has never been the slightest indication of life anywhere except here, on Earth. And you look at the vast desolation, the vast emptiness of space, and think, what on earth is it for? And what do you do with it all? It seems pretty useless, actually. But outside of it, the one who made it has somehow come into it, become part of what he has made, and somehow lent meaning and purpose to everything. So that suddenly everything falls into a place where we can understand it, where it somehow makes sense. And this is the Son of God, whose birthday we remember today. For to which of the angels did God ever say, "You're my Son, today I've begotten you. I shall be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son." But he's definitively God, because it says that all God's angels worship him. Who else can we worship? Who is it worth worshipping? What is worth worshipping? The short answer is nothing, except the living God, except the maker of the heavens and the earth. Nothing else is worthy of our worship. Nothing else is worthy of such unqualified admiration. Nothing else is worthy of our trust. Everything is stuff. Everything is just a means to an end. Except people, who are never simply a means to an end. They're always somehow an end in themselves. And our Maker, and our Redeemer. And it says, the true light which gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him. Jesus, that man that was born in Bethlehem, in the house of bread, somehow the divine Son of God. Somehow the maker of the universe combined with the stuff that he had made to make this little baby who was his son, truly his son, not a fiction, not an imagination, not a metaphor, but truly God from God, light from light, begotten, not made. And yet that one came into the world. And who was waiting for him? Who were the watchmen on the walls? Hardly anyone actually noticed. Hardly anyone even noticed. It was a normal family, beginning life in a normal kind of way. Having a baby in the normal mechanism, as it were. And no one even noticed. And the one who were actually told, some shepherds in the fields, were told by angels, who terrified them out of their wits and reassured them, don't be afraid, it's okay, we've got good news today. Go and have a look. See for yourselves. This is it. And when they went there, they found a baby, just as they were told. They might have thought, a baby? So what? We've seen one before. But the baby heralded by angels is not a common thing. And so they wondered about it. And in the Gospel of Luke it says how Mary stored all these things up and treasured them in her heart and wondered about them. Because there was nothing to prepare any of them for this. No one had ever seen this before. But all the time through the history of Israel, they'd never had this before. This was something new. It was completely unexpected, and yet something which somehow everyone had been waiting for. Hindsight gives marvellous vision, as it says. And as we look back, you can see how the words from Isaiah and the words from the Psalm all fit together so beautifully around all this. And we can contemplate these things like Mary did in her hearts. But for now, we can just be content and know that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. He is truly one of us. It says in that song, that Beatles song, what if God were one of us? Well, he is. Jesus, the Son of God, is truly one of us. Just like us, flesh and blood. And yet also not just flesh and blood. Also the Son of God, the Son of the Most High, the divine maker of the heavens and the earth, of all that's been made. And as they said, we have seen his glory. Glory is of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth, full of favour and compassion and mercy towards us as little creatures, and full of truth, full of the knowledge of everything we need to know. May the Lord bless you all and comfort you and give you strength in Jesus' name, and have a happy Christmas. Amen. Thank you.